Hello guys, MMA Milton here, and this is my first video ever, and we are starting off with UFC 323 predictions. And honestly, this is a pretty solid card through and throughout. There's a lot of fun fights, not a ton of big names, but a decently solid names, and again, just great fights overall. We got Marab fighting, headlining. He's going for his fourth title defense of this year, in a calendar year, which would be most ever. Then we got Joshua Van versus Pantoja. Pantoja is one of the most dominant champs we've had. And then, of course, who doesn't love Joshua Van? I will glaze all day, but Joshua Van got that dog in him. But overall, this is a pretty solid card. Probably about a B rating to about 7 out of 10 overall for this card. Just a lot of good fights overall, I think. So let's get right into it. First fight of the night, we have Muhammad Navo versus Mario Santos. Sorry about some of these names. I ain't the greatest at pronouncing some of these names. But Muhammad's a really fast kickboxer. He can take you down, but the problem is he doesn't really do too much when he's on the ground. He is a bit of a dirty fighter, so I take that into account. And Mario has a bit of a weird style. He kind of is a problem. He's kind of hard to hit in a way. It's kind of weird. You gotta like watch him fight. He's kind of weird. He has a low output as well. That's his biggest problem, I think. He needs to learn how to pace himself throughout the fight and just to throw a little bit more. But I got Muhammad. I mean, not Muhammad. Mauro Santos by decision. He's 17-1, bit of a prospect. He's I think 26, third fight in the UFC. He's looked pretty solid so far, so I think he's gonna come out and get that decision. Second fight, Ayo Broskowski versus Ivo Asla. Again, with these names, it's bad. I know. Hey, trust me, we're gonna learn. But both are very good strikers. Borowski is a very good striker who he hasn't lost. He's 6-0. This guy's a finishing machine. The problem is he's gone against a bunch of cans. He's fought nobody basically, so that could be a problem. And with Aslan has lost his last two fights pretty bad, basically. I think, but outside of those two losses, he's won every fight. Outside of that, he's looked, I'd say, pretty good for the first couple fights. But yeah, recently he's been on a bit of a decline. But honestly, I think it's gonna be a bounce back win for Aslan. I think he will win. I think he's gonna win by either decision or knockout. That simple. And next fight, we got Edson Barbosa versus Jalen Turner. Oh, we got Unk battling. So Edson Barbosa, we all know Edson Barbosa. He's an Unk, 39 now, but the king. He's a king of those calf kicks, king of highlight reels. Man, you go on this guy. The guy has a beautiful highlight reel, but he's been on a bit of a decline lately. He's old. He's washed, slow. Kind of gasses himself out a lot of these fights, especially his last fight. Looked really good in the first round, but then just slowed down on those last two rounds and just didn't look that good. Jalen Turner's coming back from a long break. Hopefully, he got his mental side because the problem with Jalen Turner is his mental. He doesn't know when to finish a fight. He can do damage, but doesn't know how to finish a fight. I don't know if he feels bad a lot of the time when he hits someone hard or something. So I really do hope he's in the right headspace for this fight because really, he is a dog. This guy could be ranked and be a top 10 fighter in lightweight. He can be. That's the type of potential. So obviously, this is a layup type of pick. Jalen Turner by knockout. Simple, easy money. Um, Next fight we got is Mazadu Abdul Malik versus Antonio Tricoli. Um, Abdul Malik. Abdul Malik is always looking for the knockout. The guy's a knockout machine. He is very, very wild on the feet. Very. Guy's always looking for a knockout. Very explosive, and just very nasty ground pound. The guy is always looking to knock you out. This is what this guy wants. Antonio Tricoli, uh, he's 0-2 in the UFC. Hasn't really done much. Okay striking. He's supposed to have good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu, bit of a submission machine. But ever since he's joined the UFC, none of that's happened. He's 0, like I said, he's 0-2. Hasn't done too much. For Abdul Malik, it's gonna be a knockout. They're still building up Abdul Malik. This is a fight for him to build him up even more. Abdul, like I said, hasn't lost. His last fight was a draw. It was a bit of a weird fight. It was like a headbutt, but it's gonna be a bounce back fight for him. They're just throwing him a can basically. I'm not trying to disrespect Antonio Tricoli, but the guy's 0-2 in the UFC. Hasn't done too much. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Abdul Malik here. I think Abdul is gonna knock him out either in the first round or second round. I don't expect this fight to be long. Expect it to be quick and get on to the next one. And the next one is Marvin Vittori versus Bruno Fajeda. Marvin Vittori is at the tail end of his career right now. He's a blockhead. Guy gets hit. Great chin. Does nothing else. Uh, he's been on a losing streak recently. Like I said, the guy's done. I think his career's kind of pretty much done for. Almost at the end of it. And Bruno Fajeda is a young up and comer. He's a knockout. He's a guy has great power, just great power. He's a freaking beast. And also though, another thing I've noticed about Bruno Ferreira, his grappling. His grappling has improved a ton recently. Uh, his last fight was a submission. I mean, it was also against another can. I already forgot the guy's name. I just remember his long his long hair he had. But the guy he submits him in a pretty dominant fashion. And like I said, this guy's been on the rise. And I think Bruno is gonna get the job done here. I think he's gonna knock out Marvin Vittoria or beat him by a decision. I don't know how good Marvin Vittoria's chin will hold up. Obviously, he's never been finished. That is known. We see. We see. I think his chin could be cracked here. And honestly, I think for Marvin Vittori after this fight, he should retire or just give him just do these like fun fights with them now at this point. It's getting to the point where he should retire, just be a veteran where he fights the young up and comers now. But for Marvin Vittori, he should retire after this fight. If he loses, if he wins, obviously stay. All right, the next fight we got Nazvin Sadikov versus Fizium. This fight's a banger. It's just a banger overall. Two of the best unranked lightweights going at it. I think this is going to be the one of the best cards on the prelim. So let's get right into it. And Sadikov, I think Sadikov, not even I think, he is one of the best unranked lightweights out there, one of the best unranked lightweight strikers out there. He's very fast, very quick, super dangerous, and overall, just a great kickboxer. And I'm sorry for the glaze, but this guy is a stud. But Fiziem is also a great fighter. He's very technical, has great technique, and just overall another good striker. What makes him a little different though, he mixes in his wrestlings. His wrestling has improved overall his last couple fights. So expect him to mix in a little bit of that wrestling overall. And how I think this fight's gonna end, I think Sadakov's gonna get it done. Either by a decision or a late TKO. Overall, I think this is gonna be one of the best fights on the card. So watch it. All right, the next fight that we got is Macy Barber versus Karen Silva. Macy Barber has pretty good wrestling, uh, very good technical, and pretty solid hands. She can knock you out, and she brings a pretty solid fight. Karen Silva has pretty good jiu-jitsu, but lately has been struggling. She struggles against with a lot of good wrestlers. When someone has pretty similar skill set or is just good at wrestling, she struggles. Like Macy Barber has good wrestling. So I think she's gonna struggle this fight. So I got Macy Barber by decision. That's simple. Let's get in the next one. The next one, we get a fucking banger. A fucking banger. Terrence McKinney versus Chris Duncan. Terrence McKinney is a type of fighter. Kill or be killed. That's simple. That's how he fights. And shit. Who doesn't love seeing that? The guy is brings a very violent style. He has great submission threat. He can submit you, he can knock you out. Doesn't care. The only problem is this guy doesn't last very long. Doesn't last too long. Um, his fights last about to the first round, and then by then he's either gonna get submitted, knocked out, or he's gonna lose a decision. That simple. Oh, I shouldn't even say that because he's never gone the distance. So I think like he's going against Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan brings a very good style towards him. Chris Duncan's very tough. He doesn't bring the best striking, but he's a very good grappler and a pretty solid chin. Even though he was knocked out once, and his last fight, he's been dropped before. The guy's been dropped, but I think his chin's gonna hold up here in this fight and survive the first round. I think Chris Duncan's gonna get a submission here, and I think it's gonna be a second round submission. Let's see. All right, the next fight though. Next fight is this fight could be good, could be a whole lot of ass. Grand Dawson versus Mario Torres. Manuel Torres. I don't. That was a terrible one. I was reading that wrong. Manuel Torres versus Grand Dawson. Grand Dawson, great wrestler, but not very good striking. And his wrestling is very boring. The guy holds, wants to get control. He fights in a certain style where it has to go his way, and a lot of time goes his way. Very boring though. Mayo Torres brings great striking and can knock anyone out, and just overall, just a very fun, dangerous striker. Problem is, Uchek gets grappling, brother. Uchek is grappling. And I think Chris Duncan and not Chris Duncan. I mean Grant Dawson's gonna really get the wrestling going here and just be able to control Man Torres the entire time. So I got Grant Dawson in a unanimous decision. Obviously, I would hope Man Torres knocks him out. I will give Grant Dawson this. He does get a lot of submissions. He knows how to end a fight. So Grant Dawson, I got a decision or submission. So let's get to the next one. All right, let's get in the main card now. And the main card opens up with Jan Blachowicz versus Bongan Guskov. So this card opens up with a pretty. I don't know. This fight could be really boring. Could be, but we got Jan Unk. Jan's a little wash. I don't want to disrespect him that much because I do like Jan, but guy's washed. Super inactive the last couple of years, taking a break. Made his return against Carl Solberg. Lost, boring ass fight. Jan just hasn't looked that good and just super inactive. Then we go to Bogdan Guskov, and Guskov is 33, way younger. Guy has the insane right hand, insane power. Guy never has gone a distance. Guy has never gotten a decision in his entire career besides his one loss that happened all the way back in 2016. Like Guskov, I don't want to say Guskov is like a some like amazing prospect, some amazing like he's not a prospect because he's 33. But he's like every fight you watch this guy, he looks like he's losing, then he clips you, basically. Like none of his fights really look good, and he's not that entertaining. But then he clips you. He clips you. I'm not hating Guskov because Guskov, man, I appreciate like finishes. I appreciate being able to get the knockout, and he is.
He's doing that. So I'm gonna go with Guskov. Guskov by knockout. I think he's gonna crack the chin of Jan Blachowicz here. So give me Guskov. So this next fight intrigues me though. Henry Cejudo versus Payne Talbot. Cejudo is washed. Bro's unk. Bro's 38. 3-fight losing streak. Like he's trying to get a win here, but man, he's unk. Payne Talbot, 27. He's coming off a really good win against Felipe Lima. Obviously that's Felipe Lima, but like I took Felipe Lima to beat Payne Talbot, because of Felipe Lima's jiu-jitsu background, his wrestling background. Like guy can submit you basically. He brings in really good wrestling. He can take you down basically. The guy can take you down, and I took him that over because I thought Talbot had no takedown defense because of in his last fight, bro, dude, Talbot, man, that's a terrible loss. That's a terrible loss. But he was able to bounce back in a pretty good way. And if he's able to have good takedown again, the defense against Henry Cejudo, even though Henry Cejudo and Felipe Lima, man, that's a whole different world. Like Henry Cejudo is an Olympic gold wrestler. This guy is an amazing wrestler. So I'm not gonna take that away from Cejudo. His wrestling is amazing, and if he wins this fight, it's because of that wrestling. Because he mixes it in and stuff. Really, God, if Cejudo wants to win, he has to be boring as fuck here. You get to control, basically, and just ground and pound. Just man, you gotta really have a strong wrestling approach for this fight because I'm gonna tell you why I'm choosing Payne Talbot. Payne Talbot's 5'10" with a 75. I mean a 70 reach. That's insane. For this fight. Cejudo's listed at 5'4". Sid is barely 5'4". He's more 5'3". And then his reach just 64 against 70. Talbot switches his stance a lot. Like this is not a good matchup for Henry Cejudo, even though Talbot may not have the greatest wrestling defense out there. Dude, the guy is so much bigger than Cejudo. Just is. And I not saying this is gonna be a Michael Morales versus Sean Brady because I don't think this is gonna be like that. I think this is gonna go to the decision. I think Talbot's gonna squeeze this win and be ranked. I I just don't think so. I mean, Cejudo's gonna get it done. He's too small here. He's not gonna be able. The only way is he can be able is he has a very strong wrestling approach for this fight, which I just don't see happening. I think Talbot's gonna do a good enough job and get the job done here. So I'm going Talbot by decision. Let's get into the next one, though. Next one, man, this is one of my favorite fights of the night. Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuya Taro. We all know how good Brandon Moreno is. Brandon Moreno is a dog. He's a legend. The guy's just done a lot of good things. He's a champ, former champ. Uh, dude, dude just loses to Pantoja, Figgy a ton for some reason. Can't beat those guys. Then we got one of my favorite in Tatsu Tawa. Hello, I'm happy, thank you. Like this guy's a stud. This guy is a phenomenal jiu-jitsu, could submit you. And honestly, the one thing that concerned me was his striking, and his striking's looked better recently. It has. Honestly, Moreno's gonna have the better striking here. There's no question. And Moreno has good jiu-jitsu. The guy can submit you basically. The guy's very good on the ground, very good grappler. But I think Tatsu. I'm not even think that Tatsu. I have a strong feeling he's a better. He's better. His grappling's better. And this fight goes on the ground. I think Tatsu is gonna win. But if this fight goes on the feet, I think Moreno wins basically. I'm not discrediting Moreno's grappling. I just think Tatsu has better grappling than him, even though Moreno has great grappling. But I think Tatsu is gonna get the job done. Even the I'll tell you how this fight's going because the casual in me wants Tatsu Taro in me. The hardcore in me, man, wants Brandon Moreno. Because I feel Moreno could get it done here. But I'm just gonna go with Tatsu Taro. I think the grappling's just better here. I think he's gonna be able to control and just ground and pound and try to get a submission. I don't think he's gonna submit Moreno because Moreno has never been submitted before, or he's never been knocked out. So I don't see this fight ending into a finish, which is disappointing. But it's gonna be a good decision. It's gonna be a fun fight. I'm gonna go Tetsuga Tower by decision. All right, let's get in these championship fights. Co-main, Alexander Pantoja versus Joshua Van. And this fight, man, who isn't excited? Joshua Van's one of the most entertaining flyweights out there, and Pantoja is one of the most dominant flyweights out there. Pantoja is the second greatest flyweight of all time. There's no question to that. And Pantoja, this fight's intriguing. Not it's intriguing because Van is so young, and we haven't really seen Van. We Van's one UFC loss is against Charles Johnson, and it's Charles Johnson's. He's not a bum. He's good because this guy Charles Johnson beats every freaking prospect. Basically, he beat that one freaking England guy in China. Um, I thought that guy was gonna win, and no, Charles Johnson freaking knocks him out. It's Joshua Van is very good. The only thing I want to see from Joshua is his takedown defense. How good is his takedown defense gonna play into this? Because I don't know. Pantoja is really good. His grappling, man, his grappling's are really good. And Van, I just haven't seen that. And I'm not hating because you saw me. I was glazing Joshua Van. The guy's a stud. Like you can't disrespect Joshua Van. You just can't. You can't disrespect Pantoja. Like I said, he's a very respectful champ. Guys should be over Hamzat Shemaya in the pound for pound ranking. They missed her if you win 1 year, maybe two. Like, come on. Pantoja is a stud, and I feel like he gets disrespected all the time, even though he's a flyweight. But like he should. Pantoja is such a dominant champ. Like, ah, it's such a tough fight because I want to go with Joshua Van, but I've gone with the strikers too many times lately, like with JDM and I don't talk about DDP. We don't talk about that. He's still my boy, but like I don't want to talk about that. But I just don't think Van's gonna have the grappling for Pantoja. So Pantoja either by and this is no disrespect because again Joshua Van is 24. This is just the beginning of Joshua Van. This is not even prime Joshua Van yet. But Pantoja by submission, Pantoja by decision. That's how I see this fight happening. But I think it's gonna be a good fight. And if Van's able to pull the upset off, that would be amazing. That would be beautiful to watch. Um, but I'm gonna go Pantoja here by decision. Let's get into the main event now of the night. Marab versus Peter Yan. Oh man, the rematch that. Well, I'm not gonna say no one wanted because I wanted the rematch because Peter Yan's hands down the most deserving champ. But man, he got absolutely destroyed by freaking Marab. 50-45 through and throughout. But was that a Peter Yan with a broken hand? Yes. So this fight and Peter Yan is now on a 3-fight win streak. He's looked better. I still don't like how he's takes the first round so slow. Cause by any means, if you beat Marab, you kind of like gotta try in the first couple rounds. Cause you ain't gonna survive 4-5 against Marab. Cause Marab's cardio is just that insane. So you gotta really try in these early rounds and try to take it away in the early. Because I don't think Jan's gonna be getting done in the fifth or fourth. Because he's probably gonna be tired by the time that time comes. Marab's gonna have like 25 takedowns. Where he's dancing around all that, and this fight's just I don't know, man. Cause I do like Peter Yan. I do like him. He's a very fun fighter. Man has so many different moves he could use. Just his striking, man. It's really fun to watch. Problem is, he's just You're going against the bantamweight GOAT in Marab, the guy who's cleared out the division, just absolutely destroyed everyone. Besides like Umar, Umar's the only one I like. He's in the fight. I'm not saying he like, but Umar had the first 2 rounds. Umar gassed out. I would still take Marab in a rematch though. But and that's how I'm saying this fight's gonna be. It's gonna be closer than the first fight. I hope so. It goes like the first fight, man. That's a bad way to end the year. But it's gonna be a closer fight, I think. But Marab's gonna get it done, and obviously Jan has looked good. Marab's looked better. Marab almost finished Coruscant. Marab's striking has looked better. It just has, and if his striking keeps getting better, the guy's 34, by the way. He's getting better. He's getting better with age. The guy is legit in the peak of his career. I just don't see him losing it. The only way I see him losing is because this is his fourth fight of the year, and the guy's gonna be exhausted from the weight cut because he's already. I already looked into some of the interviews because they have some of the press conferences out today. An interview. You frick, Maram already looks like this is a tough weight cut for him. But besides that, I just don't see that because everyone says, "Man, this guy doesn't look good for a weight cut," and yet the same guy always wins. Doesn't matter how you weight cut. If you show up, and I think Marab's gonna get it done. Marab, same thing by decision. I don't think Marab's gonna get a finish there, even though he's looked better striking. It's just Jan's hard to finish. He just is. Jan has a great chin and great wrestling as well. Not as to Marab's standards, but it's good. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid. But Marab by decision. And that's how we ending the year off with this card. And like I said, it's a good card through and throughout. I'm very excited for this card. It's a lot of the Bantam flyweights, and then we get a lot of the unranked lightweights fighting. Like this is a good card, guys. This is a lot of good fights. A lot of finishes, a lot of knockouts, I think. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you like and subscribe, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, and MMA Milton is out.